What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Ziggy Doom, man. How's everybody doing? Hope y'all enjoyed y'all Labor Day weekend. Now everybody got to get back to work, so I got to get back to these podcasts. Let's just get right into it. First thing I want to talk about is brands, name brands, and what the lure to them is. Now, personally, for me, I'm not really a name brand guy. I don't care for names on clothes, but I did sell t-shirts before, and one thing I noticed about t-shirts, specifically shirts anyway, is a lot of the materials that these name brands use are pretty much the same materials that everybody else uses when they make their shirts. So if the material is the same and the style, because there's a lot of styles that's the same too. You got V-necks, you got tank tops, whatever. Those styles are the same. But people will pay more for certain name brands than others, and I wondered why was that. So this is my take on it anyway. Brand clothes, styles, materials, you know what gives value to clothes? It's not the name, it's not the material, it's not the style, it's not even the season it comes out. People give value to clothes. People give value to brands. People give value to pretty much any materialistic thing. That's what gives value to it. So why is it that a shirt that says Gucci has more value than a shirt that says Doom or Johnson or Sesame Street? Why is that? And as I've, been around the world and noticed things, I think what happens is a lot of times people think that wearing these things gives them value. They think that if I'm wearing a Gucci shirt, and I'm going to keep saying Gucci throughout this video because that's like the most common one I know. When people wear something that says Gucci, they feel that it gives them value. Well, why is that? Because they see this rapper wear it, or this celebrity wear it, or this famous person wear it, or this person with money wearing it. So they feel that if they wear it, it will give them the same value as those people. And the reality is that's not how it works at all. When you come from a place that everyone lives a certain way, right? Let's just below the poverty line. Everyone lives a certain way. So if everyone don't really know how to find value in themselves, then they have to wear things that will give them value, or surround themselves with things that have value. But when you do that, that doesn't give you any value. It may appear to, but that's just not the case. So if I see Lil Wayne wearing Gucci, a Gucci shirt, a Gucci belt, a Gucci, and everybody knows Gucci is expensive, right? It ain't cheap. But just because that rich person, because Lil Wayne is rich, is wearing a product that's expensive, that will not give them the same value as it will give you. Now, the perception may be there. You may think you're looking in the mirror, and if I wear this, people will see me the same way they see Lil Wayne or whoever else is rich and can afford these things, but they don't. But when you're in a circle of people that do that wear these expensive things, and they convince themselves that it gives them value, then you see the cycle. Now you got a bunch of people that cannot afford these clothes buying them anyway, because they think it gives the appearance of them having money or having worth. And that's truly not it. When these people design these things, these clothes, they design them for a certain market. The market is for people that have money. Expensive brands can be afforded by the rich and wealthy. That's when they initially designed them for, but they realized, wait a minute, the majority of the people that buy my product, buy my Gucci shirts, are people that can't really afford it. So now you have all these people that can't really afford this stuff wearing it, and they're marketing the stuff themselves. So Gucci, they don't even need to have commercials. The Gucci family, they don't even need to wear Gucci products because the stuff will sell itself. And it's not up to the Gucci. I'm not any name brand fashion designer. I'm not saying they wrong, because they putting out a product to sell. It's not up to them to be responsible when they set the prices or wherever they sell the product. It's up to the person that buys it, at the end of the day. So I don't blame Gucci or any of these name brand people for having these crazily expensive products. I blame the people that wear them. See, if you don't have value without the clothes, then you're not going to have value with the clothes. You may think you do. You may get compliments here and there, or all your friends around you don't have Gucci and you have it. So you may see that as a status symbol. But in the reality is, when you take those clothes off, you have the same value as before you put them on. So if you go to your apartment building or your basement or your mother's couch with that shirt on, when you take that shirt off, that's the same place you're going. So another thing I learned is rich people think differently than poor people. They just do. If I see Lil Wayne wearing something that's expensive, he can afford it. So he can wear that, He's wearing that because he can afford it. But when I see somebody who has nothing and barely making ends meet wearing the same thing, I scratch my head like, where's the logic in that? Where's the actual logic? Where did you. And people, it's a fashion thing, right? Some people say, well, I got to look a certain way. I have to, be stylish, or I can't go outside looking crazy or whatever. Well, my question to you is this. If you have a certain fashion, a certain style, and you can't go outside looking crazy, is it possible for you to do that, but buying things that are more affordable? Is that possible? And one thing poor people don't understand that rich people do, poor people don't understand money. They don't, right? So if a poor person makes $2,000 a month and there's a Gucci belt and the belt is $400, a poor person will say, well, I make $2,000 a month. The belt is only $400. I can afford it. But you really can't, because your debt to income ratio is what determines what you can afford, not how much money you make a month. And most poor people don't even know what debt to income ratio is, whereas rich people do. So you see this rich person wearing something name brand, well, their debt to income ratio says that they can afford that. You make $2,000 a month, the belt $400, your debt to income ratio ain't gonna tell you the same thing. That's not how debt to income ratio works. And most poor people don't know that, right? Another thing rich people do that poor people don't do, first of all, they think completely different. Rich people and poor people don't even think the same. Rich people think of ways to make money. Poor people think of ways to spend money. Rich people make excuses to make money, and poor people make excuses to spend money. And once I realized that, I found out that no matter how hard I try to help somebody, how much advice I give them, how many examples I set, if they're poor and they think like a poor person, it's not going to change anything. So you got Jordans and Gucci pants, Gucci belt, Gucci shirt. I told you I was going to rag on Gucci. It's nothing personal though. And they have these items and they go outside and they look fresh and they get the compliments and all that. Well, then what? See, certain clothes, most clothes anyway, they depreciate in value. They don't appreciate. You don't buy a shirt and then 10 years later it's worth 5 times as much. You don't buy shoes and wear them and go to the club, whatever, and then 2 years later they worth more. That's really not how that works. So you're spending money on something that's going to depreciate over time. So you're losing money effectively doing that. Now you may enjoy the experience you had while you did it, and that's fine. If you're going to wear certain clothes for an event or an occasion from time to time, hey, that's fine. As long as your debt to income ratio say you can do that. But when that is your standard, when you have to wear name brand clothes every day, when you can't wear the same pair of clothes once every 2 weeks, that can get a little expensive. And if your debt to income ratio ain't matching it, then now you're losing money. You're going to stay poor when you do that. Aside from dressing, right? Rich people, they even dress differently than poor people. Rich people do not have to wear the most expensive and outlandish clothes and shoes. They wear what's comfortable because they understand that no matter what name and how expensive that product is, it's not going to generate them any money, and it's not going to add value to their lives. Rich people understand this, poor people don't. But if you got a brand that both of them buy, who's losing? The rich person, the brand, or the poor person? I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. And it all starts from our way of thinking. You know, if you go into a poor person's house, you'll see an apartment, flat screen TVs everywhere, maybe a fish tank. I don't really understand that one, but you'll see loud sound systems, boom boxes, a whole lot of noise. You know, you'll see these things. But you go to a rich person's house and you'll see things like books, art, paintings, things that appreciate in value over time. And it's just the mentality, man. When you think a certain way, you act a certain way. And if you're surrounded by a group of people that think that same way, then everyone is going to act that same way. So you may have to get outside of that circle to get better. But back to the name brand things, you know, the only thing that gives that stuff value is us. People give this stuff value. And some of these name brand companies are literally mocking. They're literally mocking us because Balenciaga, they make things that are just mockeries. The shoes they have that look like they just was wadded up and threw in the trash. They know that people will buy that because it's Balenciaga. They don't care how it looks. They will say, hey, I have on $900 Balenciaga shoes. I don't care how they look. You see they Balenciagas, you see they $900, you see I'm wearing them. That means I can afford them. But does it really? Does it really? Can you really afford those Balenciagas? Or is it a status symbol for you? And even if it's a status symbol for you, you're saying that those shoes give you value. And that is not how that works. That is not how value works. So you ask yourself, what do you value? What gives you value? If everyone is different, for me, it's my children. My children give me value. Helping somebody out to where it benefits them later on in life or immediately or whenever, that's what gives me value. When I can hear somebody years later say, hey, Ziggy, you know, that advice you gave me really changed my life, or that favor you did for me really put me in a better place. Thank you. That's what gives me value. When my children are able to thrive and be successful, that's what gives me value. But I don't know what gives everyone else value. You know, luckily I'm able to walk outside comfortable enough in my own skin to do and wear what I enjoy, and I couldn't care less what anyone thinks about it. And that's not a trait that a lot of people have. A lot of people really have to doll themselves up from head to toe to go outside because they need to, you know, feel or get certain praises and adorations. But if you wasn't born with it, then you don't need it to survive. You shouldn't need it to add value to your life. And it's very unfortunate because that's what a lot of people do. But excuse me, y'all. I had to let that cough out. I'm cooking in my kitchen crawfish and I forgot to turn the pot off. So it's really seasoned up in there. My bad. Anyway, what can we do to change this way of thinking, right? Well, for one, you got to look in the mirror and find out what is your worth. What do you think your worth is? What do you think gives you value and gives you purpose, and not necessarily monetary value? We're not talking about net worth, because net worth is an arbitrary number anyway based on the things you have. So everyone's net worth is always going to be wrong. But what gives you value? You know, what is the reason you can walk outside with your head up and know that you have worth? And if it's the clothes you wear, then you're only gonna be as valuable as your people think your clothes are for that time, because fashions change with time, right? Remember bell bottoms back in the day, corduroys. You know, now it's skinny jeans. I guess I will never wear skinny jeans, not intentionally, but you know it. So that changes over time. So if you basing your value on something that changes over time, then your value. I really need to cut that pot off, y'all, but it's too late now. If your value is based on clothes and styles change over time, then that means your value is going to change over time. So that might not be a good measuring stick to determine your value and your worth. Do you have to stand out with your friends? If you go out with your friends, do you have to have the flyest, most expensive clothes? Are you wearing these things to impress women or men or whoever? Is that what gives you value? I'm gonna wear this nice outfit. I'm gonna go to the club. I'm gonna get a lot of women to look at me, you know, or I'm gonna wear these pants and I'm gonna put on this makeup and I'm gonna go out and all these men are gonna hit on me. Is that what gives you value? It shouldn't. It shouldn't. But if it does, then what I will say to you is this: at some point, sooner or later, you're going to have to constantly make adjustments, because people change, opinions change, but your value shouldn't change. But if you need that makeup and the eyelashes and the whatever clothes or the Gucci belt and the Gucci book bag thing to have swagger, have confidence, to get attention and adoration, then your value is gonna fluctuate. And that's unfortunate. But that is the stick that comes with that way of thinking. So rich people and poor people think completely differently. A name brand only has value based on people. So if a lot of people like a brand, then that brand gets value. And if a rich person wears something, that doesn't mean that you wear it, you'll be just as rich as that person. We emulate the wrong type of people. We shouldn't emulate people that look a certain way just because of the adoration it gives them. We should emulate people. That's the third time. I'm gonna try not to cough no more, y'all. It's really embarrassing, but we got to get through this podcast. We should try to emulate people that try and leave this world better than they found it. Setting good examples, helping, donating, you know, that's what we should try to emulate. But what I've found out is people that do that are boring. People that are trying to change the world, leave it better than they found it, they're boring. And no one likes boring. Everyone likes, the follows, the comments, all of that, the adorations. But at the end of the day, like I said, once you go home, take off your makeup, take off your Gucci clothes, you are still who you are. And if your value decreases once you take all that off, then you might want to reassess what you put value in. That will be it for this podcast, y'all. I'm really tired of coughing, and I hope I got my point across. You know, if only 3 people ever watch this video, as long as they get the message, I'm okay with that. I never do these things for likes, shares, and follows. But as a disclaimer, I do say that. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment if you like this video. And as always, man, till the next video, be easy.